Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. It's a big pleasure to be here. My name is Rafi Dabush. I'm the head of innovation at El Al Israel Airlines. My role is to build and create an innovation strategy to become a leader in an ongoing competitive industry. I have 15 years of experience and deep knowledge on top strategic projects in the areas of information technology, business development, and product development. In the next 15 minutes, we will be presenting you a very interesting case study on how El Al achieved a significant commercial advantage by implementing cutting-edge technology. But first of all, a few words about El Al and our approach to innovation. So as you can see, we are flying to 36 non-stop destinations and 400 connect destinations all over the world. El Al is the national carrier of Israel, and last year we celebrated our 70 years with the State of Israel, which established in 1948 as well. Recently, we added to our fleet 16787 Boeing Dreamliner with the fastest in-flight connectivity technology, which allow to our passenger to stream Netflix, movies, and series, to listen to Apple Music and Spotify, and much more during the flight. Due to the growing competition and the penetration of the low-cost carriers and the open skies policies, we made a decision to build an innovation strategy to explore various disruptive technologies in the fields of aviation and travel. As you can see, we aim to touch every single point around the customer journey and to improve dramatically the customer experience in all stages, before the flight, during the flight, and after it. Now, everyone speaks about innovation. It becomes a huge trend. Since this morning, I heard this word more than 30 times, I think. I count it. And at the end of the day, to deliver and to execute innovation, it's a big challenge. Not everyone will succeed with that. So we took a decision to focus on finding disruptive technologies that have an immediate impact. In other words, we search for quick wins. First of all, we focus on the commercial vertical. As you can see, these are the challenges that we had to deal with. Now, all airlines are familiar with these challenges. And I'm not telling you something new. But after we did an internal research, we found out that the huge amount of money that airlines invest in their digital channels has a low impact due to the way of how airlines are operated. And I will explain what I mean. Amazon is always a good example. What we can see in this slide, we can see two different customers that would like to purchase the same exact product. Danny is existing customer of Amazon, and Joe is a new customer. Based on Amazon digital platform and marketing automation platform, they know that Danny is willing to pay $22 for Harry Potter book. On the other hand, they don't have enough information about Joe. So based on their competitor prices, they know that they can offer Joe to buy this book for $18. Amazon is creating personalization strategy by combining both products and prices. The same product with different prices. Now let's see how it's work in our world. In this case, Danny and Joe would like to book a flight to London. The big paradox in the aviation industry that Danny is willing to pay $380. The airline published the segment price and it's standing on $350. On the other hand, Joe will not pay more than $330. Airlines use personalization strategies similar to Amazon. But the most significant difference that is the pricing in airline is not part of the personalization process. So if you ask me again, what is the main challenge? I will tell you that the major challenge is to create a real-time engagement and a real-time synergy between the digital platform and the revenue management platform. I would like to invite Guy, the CEO of Bidflyer, to share with you how Bidflyer was able to overcome these challenges and to generate new revenue sources for the airlines.
So, hi. Thank you, Rafi, so much. I feel really lucky to be here also because we have a very strong partner that we've been working for a few years, which is Elal. And thanks for Rafi for all the effort to explaining what are the main challenges we solve. Just to really understand before we step in, what is different about personalization using a platform which has a full picture which does not exist today. So if you look at personalization, airlines personalize products, not price, right? I will give you an example. You can buy a phone without a battery. It's called light in airline. But if you add the battery, it's classic. And if you add an antenna, it's flex. This is how airlines sell products, which personalization is by the product, which is really weird because no one wants to buy a phone without a battery or antenna and call it a light. And what is missing, basically, is three main things which you want to impact. If you would have intelligence in real time that you could identify up to 50 days, 70 days in advance what would be your flight, if it would be empty, for example, you would want to negotiate down or up on a personalized level, one-on-one, a different fare for the same product. Giving an example of opportunity, I could just take this to a way of telling, listen, if I know that in no time the flight is fully booked, the fare for Danny is not the fare for Joe, although they want the same product. And we'll get into that in a bit. But what we also invented, it's a methodology which allows instant fares. For everyone here that is familiar with how booking class are working, it means that you have segmentation in a plan. Once you have that, you basically take that and you just split the plane into segmented prices. How segmentation can be personalized, this is the challenge. If you have a segmentation on one hand and personalization on the second hand, basically you cannot personalize. So we're now telling the same story of Danny, the way that Bidflyer does it, and how this can imply airlines to be much smarter and the benefits of it. Okay? So here we see Danny search for London, the same exact flight that we saw earlier. The only thing here is that Bidflyer responds instantly with the following information. The flight is going to depart in 50 days. We know that anyway, it will end in 50 days in 70% load factor. It means that for now we know it's sure that doesn't really matter what revenue management will do. This is the final outcome. And we also know that because we have characteristic information which come from from digital automation and marketing, we know also this is not a business traveler, and this information comes from both revenue management segmentation, but also from the digital systems. And we are going to share this with the marketing team. So now marketing team have information regarding a new fare which comes up. Until now, if you take any airline in the world, marketing is really do personalization, but in the product level. They will add ancillaries, they will remove ancillaries, but for the same exact problems, they don't have real-time information that they can negotiate with Danny on a different fare. Now, everyone, except Danny, for the same product will see $250, but Danny will get it for $325. Now, just think about the impact in terms of revenue. The GDSs, the OTAs, your competitors, when they see the prices, they see 350. Only Danny is able to get a real personalized fare here. And the way it's done is because the engagement Bidflyer creates is one-on-one strategy, and it's not segmentation strategy based. This is how airline looks traditionally from the 60s. Okay, so from the 60s, airlines basically says, let's do fare categories. This is how we identify willingness to pay. To give an example, if you are a legacy airline and you want to travel Tuesday and get back on Wednesday, they say no leisure traveler is doing that. This is a business passenger. Let's aim to charge him for $280. And this is how the categories fares. The problem is that we spoke in this room, I think, many times about personalizing fares or personalization, but this is a conflict. Like, how do you do that? And you want to get that capability, okay? Because we still want to use the existing systems. We don't want airline to transform all the systems to use different methodology, but we want basically to increase the average order value. And for that, you basically want to have an instant fare for each passenger without having to pre-file fares all the time, without having to create a long-term strategy which changes with forecast, because forecast requires time and personalization requires real time. And this is the main aspects of how we look at it. Now, if we can personalize fares, not just products, it means that we can combine that with products. And combine that with products allows Bidflyer as a platform to take all the services airlines use today and basically do an adjustment. I will give you an example. Earlier I was speaking about fare families that airlines say we have light, we have classic, we have flex. But it's weird because my light or flex or classic expectations from the price is different. So maybe light for me is a reasonable price, but light for someone else is not reasonable price. Let's take an example that I know that the inventory is going to be empty in 10 days, let's say 70% load factor. Why would I not let someone who abandons my site buy a classic fare with $5 less on the suitcase? I still want him as a passenger. Why do we bundle without changing fares? Okay? So if we bundle without changing fares, it means that basically we count that this is the right price, and then we don't measure willingness to pay, then we cannot optimize that, and we take the fare as a binary thing, whether it is good or bad for the passenger. There is no middle. Okay, no middle price for anything. In Q2, we are launching a platform which provides huge content of third-party content, like hotels, cars, etc. And for the first time, we will be able to measure real-time need in the inventory and create automatically markup on all the surrounding services. So we might take on the hotel just 1% of markup as a profit in order to push someone to fly on an empty flight, but we might also take 10% markup on an hotel, which all is in real time, because the flight behind the scene is fully booked. And this creates personalization, which aims to create win-win-win situation. Revenue management will be happy because they have more customers, more load factor, and more revenues. Marketing team can different pricing on digital channels. If you come to buy a listed fare without a flexibility of price differentiation, you basically cannot change your digital channel to be attractive. If you want to make the digital channel attractive, you need to find those differences that passenger will prefer to buy on the site. And this is where we are going to. And I really appreciate the time you were spending here to listen to me, but I also want to tell that I'm really happy that we found a partner that started with us about 3 years ago. We already have very strong numbers that we could deliver, and we're basically going now to the next step of allowing this to happen. Few words which I'm going to say, and then, of course, if you have any question, I will be happy to answer. But what is the most important thing for us as a company is to basically understand that in order to accomplish that, we need two teams, which is revenue management and marketing. When you use today marketing and you aim for personalization, it just cannot happen because revenue management has a different strategy, and this is the synergy that Rafi was talking about. You must be completely in sync with that strategy to achieve a full personalization capability. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rafi, do you want to come for the questions as well to us? So we see you again. One question from me. When passengers maybe find out I have used my mobile device, I'm not known by El Al, I got a different price from my spouse who was frequent flyer or maybe somebody who was using business class. And am I disappointed as a passenger? Do I feel happy because I got a better price? Is the frequent flyer disappointed? Can I book 2-3 seats for the same price? Or do I get a different price if I ask for 2 passengers?
So this is very interesting because basically it's not even related to what Bidflyer and El Al and any airline does. Segmentation accomplished the same problem. If you come now and you book 10 days before departure, you'll get it totally different if you book half year before departure. So the only difference here is that the differentiation in price is not related to time and to a group of category that you were defined into, is more a dialogue. And in a dialogue, we basically say, this is a way to really personalize and talk to customers without really getting into a feeling of why do I get $200 when my friend bought it 2 weeks earlier for $150. This is the same situation. So in a dialogue, you actually get more attention and you show customer that you care for him.
Rafi, what do you hear from the passengers? Or do they understand what you are talking in this dialogue?
Yes, of course. But as we mentioned during our presentation, everyone, we gave the example of Amazon, but everyone acting like that. Amazon, eBay, AliExpress, and all the others. And at the end of the day, if you would like to generate more revenues, you must do something different. Mm-hmm. So this is the way, I think.
Questions from the audience, please. Yes. One on each side. I think this side is faster and the other side will follow.
Well, thank you. Very inspiring presentation. From a revenue management point of view, I actually get the point and the collaboration part. 2 questions. Is the revenue management price, which is put out by the revenue management team, the rack rate, or is the fare flexibility also going upwards, that you have opportunities that passengers pay more?
So as I mentioned, it's of course can work vice versa. It's a risk management for revenue management. If you have a situation when you need to reduce your loss, instead of reducing booking class like a revenue management does today, you want first of all to try a second line of defense, which meaning let's negotiate first before we focus down the results. But let's take a load factor of 99%. When you want to really maximize the revenue, you would like to maybe block that for the segmentation and issue kind of a bidding process to go up. And Bidflyer, it's like we didn't talk about bidding because bidding is one of the tools. But bidding allows Bidflyer to increase revenues in terms of opportunities or reduce loss in terms of risk management. And this dynamicity is actually accomplished by automated strategy synergy between the revenue management systems and Bidflyer. So every time you change fare booking class, we adjust to that strategy, and basically every decision you make as a revenue management gets influenced by the system. So you are the person who influenced the strategy and not the opposite.
Great. And last question, also hopefully a short one. In terms of El Al, I think you have a very good use case airline, because I think travelers on El Al are pretty much good to identify and they have a very good target. There's not a lot of widespread kind of customer segments. Do you see advantages of focusing first on one product group first, or do you get better results on passengers who are part of your loyalty program versus customers who are just come in?
So I will tell it for my example, for my experience. Since we implement a certain strategy in El Al, I think that Rafi also can say that later, but you know, when you implement a new technology, you don't want to do too much changes too fast because everyone is afraid in the organization. And the key for us to crack this is starting with something which is lean and expand it slowly. And I think the best thing to do that is to, first of all, do it on different segmentation of groups and then identify which groups are better and which are not. Unfortunately, some of the information is confidential for El Al, so I'm not allowed to share that, but I would be happy to explain the methodology of how to do that later.
Thanks. I will follow up. Thanks.
Thank you.
Question number 2, please.
Hello, Klaus from DLR. Yeah, I think it's clear that such an approach is of benefit for the airline, increasing revenues and so on. I think the main question here is if this procedure, either it is done by Amazon or by an airline, is in the long run accepted by society. So therefore my questions would be, do you experience already kind of countermeasures by passengers, for example, that they are prevent willing sharing their data? And the second question would be, do you expect or experience already countermeasures from the regulatory bodies, so regarding market regulation or things like this? Thank you.
Okay, so if I understood right, there are two questions, is regarding bucket and pricing and regarding how the market accepts it, right? So the first question is, again, I don't think that people that we talk to, which are not from the aviation, think that there is no information collected. Regardless of what is happening here in Bidflyer, airlines collect information, and even I heard a friend which says, if I will search 20 times, the price will jump. They don't understand that it's totally different and it's much more a practical approach. So they do believe today that we collect information. They believe that regarding airlines, regarding Expedia, regarding Facebook, regarding everywhere. So I think this is not the fear. I think the plus here is that regarding, although we're collecting this information, we don't negotiate anything. If I come to you and you gave me a value information and I'm able to give you a better service, a better price, a better product, and we merge all of it into once, you're benefiting from it. So I don't believe this is something which is fear. Regarding fare policies, the technology does not void regulation because we use that on top of booking classes. And this is a thing the main message here. Booking classes, the same terminology, the same way that you work, the same publication to GDSs, OTAs, etc., works exactly the same. We developed a way to live within booking classes in real-time fares without affecting the pre-filed fares. And of course, this is not the time to explain all the theory behind that, but this is part of a long development that we've done internally in the company.
Thank you very much, Rafi and Guy. It was really practical insight, and thank you very much that you shared your information with us.
Thank you.